Hi, and welcome to Introduction to Meditation, online and live on YouTube. This is week one of a 12-week course that I've been teaching for a few years now, but I've mostly done it in person. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has forced me to join the 21st century and try and work out how to put this online. But I have a confession up front, which is that this is my first one of these live broadcasts, and I'm pretty nervous and feeling very out of my depth. But fingers crossed, and forgive me if this is a little clunky and I have to check my notes in various different places. But thank you very much for all joining. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Justin Comer. I've been meditating for about 30 years and teaching on and off for about 20. I like to say that doesn't make me an expert. I'm not a guru. I'm not a spiritual teacher. But I have practiced a lot. I've studied a lot of different techniques, a lot of different traditions. I get a lot out of practicing meditation, and I get a lot out of sharing meditation. Many of you are here with me live, but this is going to be on YouTube afterwards. So for anybody who's watching the recording, it did seem to me sensible to at least try and put this in some context. It's early April 2020. Right now, as I'm talking, I think there's approximately 1 million people have tested positive for coronavirus. The world is largely on lockdown. Many people are sick. Many have already died, and unfortunately, many more are going to die. In the last few weeks, our lives have all been turned upside down. Many businesses are on hold. Most of us are in isolation. We are all facing this very real threat to our health and also to the health and survival of our loved ones. There's also a great deal of uncertainty regarding what life is going to look like. What many people are already dealing with huge financial impacts, and many of the rest of us have no idea what the long-term effect of this is going to be. There's an enormous amount of fear, anxiety, confusion, some sadness, anger, frustration with the current state of affairs. That's the reality of today. And tonight's class is not going to change that reality. And yet, I'd like to ask you tonight, just for the next 90 minutes or so, to see if you can try and put that reality on hold. It's not to say that it's going to go away, but just see if you can put it on hold just for the next 90 minutes. See if you can shut down your email. Maybe close all the other apps, the different windows on your phone and computers. If you can, I'm going to ask you to turn off your notifications. And it's not because I want you to pay close attention to what I'm going to say. I mean, of course, I have an ego. I would love you to listen to what I have to say, but that's not actually the reason. I want you to try and put this on hold for 90 minutes. It is that there's an enormous challenge that we're all facing right now, and it's pretty relentless. It's all day, every day. And I just want to see if we can, and this is sort of a meditative exercise in and of itself, but to see if we can just put it on hold for 90 minutes, just to take a pause. The world is still going to be the world at the end of the 90 minutes. But if we can just take a moment, just take a few minutes to just try and put our minds somewhere else, then at the end of the 90 minutes, we can go back to our reality, but hopefully with a little bit more peace, a little bit more calm, and a little bit more clarity as we try to deal with this very difficult situation. So that's a lot of talking. I want to get started as quickly as possible. I I'm guessing that there are some people who have never meditated before, and if you are one of those people, I'd just like to say welcome, and thank you for joining. This is week 1 of a 12-week series, so you're in exactly the right place. And I just want to acknowledge, I think you're very brave for giving this weird meditation thing a go. And I'm sure you're filled with like doubts and wondering how does it all work and all sorts of things probably. But the most important thing I want to stress for you is please to relax. This is probably going to be a lot easier and simpler than you think it is. So the other thing I would ask you to do is just to do your best. So we're going to do a bunch of meditation this week and every week, and I'll do some talking. But the most important thing is just during the exercises is just to try your best. And the only other thing, and I'd say this to everybody, is to see if you can. It's obviously human nature to judge these things and to decide whether you like it, whether you don't like it, if you think I'm making sense or not making sense or whatever. And you want to sort of judge it and see if it's working, if it's not working, if you agree with what I'm saying or something like that. And what I'd like you to do, if possible, is to try to avoid doing that. Or if you notice that you're judging it and you're trying to say, okay, is it working? Do I like it? Do I dislike it? Just see if you can notice you're doing that and see if you can put that on hold, just for the duration of the class. And there's a few reasons for this, but one is that part of our mind that does judging and evaluating, which is an incredibly important and useful part of our mind, but it's not useful during meditation. And so during the meditation, it's more helpful just to try your best to do the exercise. And then at the end of the class, you decide, sort of see where your mind state is, and then decide whether or not you think you liked it, you didn't like it, whether or not you think I'm any good or not, or whatever. And if this is your first time, then at the end of the class, when you make that decision, you've really only got 2 outcomes, mainly. One is you liked it. Great. It's cool. Okay, do some more. Come back next week and we'll do some more. The other is you don't like it. And I'd say if you don't like it, it is possible. There are a couple of possibilities if you don't like it. One is that this really isn't for you. And that's fine. It's not for everybody, actually. It's probably for most people, but it's not for everybody. And if you discover it's not for you, then that's great. It's one less thing that you think you ought to be doing that you're probably not doing. So that's good. Or there's another possibility, which is just that I'm not the guy to try and introduce you to it. So if you don't like it, what I would encourage you to do is to maybe just try somebody else. There's an awful lot of meditation online now. There are lots of really great apps. So just give it another go with somebody else. But anyway, of course, I hope you enjoy it. If you're very experienced, then I hope you get something new out of this. And if you've got a lot of experience with meditation and at some point you find yourself screaming at the screen and saying, no, you're saying it all wrong or whatever, then I would just say, see if you can put it on hold, and maybe at the end of the class, you might notice what I'm trying to do and where I'm coming from. And equally, I mean, of course, you might not, and you might still disagree. And if you do disagree, I would just invite you to maybe get in touch with me sort of afterwards and let me know what you think. And who knows, I might learn something too.